Since the Pixel series was what really put Google on the map in the smartphone industry, I'm gonna be directly comparing the first ever released Pixel with their newest pride and joy, equipped with the game-breaking Tensor chip, the Pixel 6 Pro. Buckle up and let the facts speak. The release of the Pixel for sure shook things up, along with making rival companies uncomfortable, because now there was one more phone added to the list of devices with a good camera. The Pixel was released in 2016, which puts it just outside the range of the big change of preferences in photos, and that is why the brightness, saturation, and sharpness is all less in the Pixel 6 Pro, and I know many people that would prefer this. I'll be honest, as someone who used to stream on Twitch and had a decent Instagram following, I'm always gonna go for the 6 Pro because it just looks better on social media. So what would you say if I told you that we're gonna do a giveaway of the Pixel 6 Pro, the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max? Just sub to our channel, like this video, and check out the link in the description to have a chance to win one of these amazing devices. That being said, portrait mode is more in that category, and no wonder the photos of the original Pixel are hilarious. No one put effort into perfecting software even in 2016. Well, maybe no one but Apple, but don't quote me on that. I always criticize the Pixel 6 Pro for lagging miles behind the flagships of Oppo, Samsung, Apple, and OnePlus, and more with regard to portrait mode because they have a lot to work on, but it's actually looking pretty good right now because the original Pixel naturally has a ton of mistakes because portrait mode is just software all around. In fact, it's the very same software that ups the video quality and makes them more watchable in 2022. 2016 footage from the Pixel is just dull. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but dull. If you've been following us for a while, there's no way you haven't heard of Super Res Zoom. Put into action with the Pixel 3, this software upgrade gave great results for Google. Personally, I've seen the Pixel 6 Pro go head-to-head with the Galaxy S22 Ultra in our very own zoom comparisons, so it doesn't shock me when the images from the device with Super Res Zoom are much clearer than the one without it. I could bring up similar points for the selfies, since the 6 Pro is overall better here than the Pixel, but not because it took clearer or better photos. I'll let you decide for yourself, but you will be able to see what I mean when you pay attention to the tone of my skin and the general darker ambiance of the photos. This will be the main point that sets them apart, and I really do think that the first Pixel has actually a respectable front camera. So finally, it will be possible for us to see a stabilization comparison between an old and a new phone and actually having something to compare. There is a case to be made about the Pixel 6 Pro having really good stabilization, with the OG Pixel putting up a really good performance. It does tell you something about the amount of time put into this feature back in 2016. Of course, turning on the highest level of stabilization will push the 6 Pro ahead, since this is tech from 2022. Regardless, as long as you're not running, the Pixel remains a great phone for shooting video. Though I won't be walking down the same road in terms of macro photography. What I mean is, I do like how the OG Pixel has good focus and clear visuals, but in a world where even their newest flagship doesn't have a macro mode and leaves us to use the 4x optical zoom to try to get some sort of result, we can't really praise them on this one, which on the other hand, isn't really a big deal because this is a niche. It is getting more and more popular over time, which is why many new flagships have a macro mode at their disposal, but it's not really sought after, just like Slowmotion. There's a bit of a quality difference here, as well as the Pixel being too dark for the footage to be usable, but again, not a huge deal. It's been improved just like how we like to see it, and that is what we're looking for in this video, just like the improvements in autofocus. While the reactions of the first Pixel are pretty on point and not too different from the Pixel 6 Pro, there are a couple of, how should I say this, quality of life improvements in visual quality. So this is the continuation of the first versus the last series, and over here we have the first ever released Google Pixel. And this one, as you already know, is the Google Pixel 6 Pro. There has to be some improvements in audio amongst other things, but what we're wondering is just how much is there an improvement? The audio quality on the Pixel is fine, but it's definitely not loud and clear enough to be considered to be on the same level as the Pixel 6 Pro, which to me is one of the best phones in this category right now. If you're curious to see how the 6 Pro holds up against the other flagships, make sure to check out our big comparison videos and you'll see just how good the microphone of the Pixel 6 Pro is. And as always, we're out and about at night, just like Batman. Except that I'm not rich and don't have an awesome car, so you'll just see me walking around while they take my pictures. It's quite visible that they took the capabilities of the Pixel at night, improved it with software, and gave us the Pixel 6 Pro because the footage is almost the same, until we flip it around to the front camera, and the Pixel just looks to be performing better. I was shocked when I realized this while checking out the photos on the phones, and I honestly don't have an explanation as to how the original Pixel looks this good with selfies at night. If it were up to me, I would have just kept the selfie camera the same instead of trying to change it because the upgrade actually lost quality. It definitely wasn't easy to find a phone that could take photos of this quality at night in 2016, and seeing this actually made me happy. Now, quick specs recap to see the improvements over the 6-year period of these two devices. On the side of the OG Pixel, it was released on the 20th of October, which just happens to be my birthday, while the 6 Pro was released on the 28th of October in 2021. The first device has a glass front protected by Gorilla Glass 4 with an aluminum and glass back and an aluminum frame, with the latest device having a glass front protected by Gorilla Glass Victus, a glass back, also offered protection by Victus, and an aluminum frame as well. The Pixel has an AMOLED 5-inch screen, 1080 by 1920, 16 by 9 with 441 ppi. The Pixel 6 Pro, on the other hand, has an LTPO AMOLED 120Hz HDR10 Plus display, 6.71 inches, 1440 by 3120 pixels, 19.5 by 9 ratio, and 512 ppi density. The OG Pixel started off with Android 7.1, codenamed Nougat, with a Snapdragon 821 chipset, while the 6 Pro has Android 12 and its very own proud invention, the Google Tensor chip. A 12.3 megapixel main and 8 megapixel selfie camera on the Pixel has been improved all the way to a 50 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and a 48 megapixel telephoto lens in the Pixel 6 Pro, with an additional 11.1 megapixel selfie camera. Last up is the battery, and we see a 2770 mAh battery with 18 watt fast charging on the Pixel that has been pulled up to a 5003 mAh battery with 30 watt fast charging on the 6 Pro. And we reached the end of another fun video. Remember guys, like and sub, and check out the description for our huge phone giveaway that you definitely don't want to miss. Keep in touch, and I'll see you soon.